You see, the prodigal son, he went down and he slept with the prostitutes and he drank wine with his hooligan friends and everything and squandered all his riches. And then he saw, my God, this is vanity. I've come to my senses. I see a bigger picture here. I'm going back to my father because it was much better there. I mean, the food that he gives to his pigs is better than the food I'm eating. So he goes right back to his daddy. When we're out of here, when we're sick of the suffering and the illusion and the material enticements, like the world is so profane, there's advertisements to buy this, and you got this sleazy woman half naked advertising all sorts of products. Buy this and consume that, and here's some money. Come on, get out there and consume as much as you can. That's what these buffoons have created, a world of materialism, because they are materialists. They're not spiritualists. They're not into spirituality. They pretend to be. So the prodigal son, he goes back to his father, and his brother sees him coming up the drive, and the father greets him and kisses him tenderly and says, "My son, you've come back, you've come back." Quickly, he says to the servants, "Get a cow, let's have a feast, let's celebrate this evening." And the brother that stayed with the father up there in heaven, he turns around and says to his father, he says, "What are you doing? You know, I've been with you for so many years, you've never done this for me." And the father says, "Well, he has returned." You know the story of the lost sheep, where the Lord goes out and looks for that one lost sheep? That's what it's talking about. It's us making our return, consciously awakening to our spirituality. And that's why we're here today, to learn more about this. There's no one here. Is anyone here that knows everything? Oh, I don't know everything about anything, but I'm sharing what my studies have produced about this subject, and this can help us to reclaim dominion once we know who we are. That we are everything that ever was, everything that is, and everything that will be, as David Icke puts it. And the solutions are here. They're here. I'm going to share those with you. So, all of this system is run on the presumption of your being lost at sea. See, they have these trusts and they administer these trusts for you. Unless you write to the Attorney General and tell him, "Excuse me, I've come of age and I'm going to be the General Executor from now on. You just step aside, buddy. That's my job." And then you're, in terms of law, your life is back in control. You're in the control seat with the steering wheel in your hands, and not these buffoons. Because they will.
Is that the Red Sea that you're talking about? That you go on in Know Thyself as well? Lost at Sea, the Admiralty Law, is that all related to that?
Yeah, pretty much. The Holy See. Why do they have a Holy See? Because they are looking after the Lord's affairs here on earth. Because the Apostle Peter was given the keys of the kingdom by Jesus. So back in 325, with Constantine, the murderer, he established the Church of Peter, St. Peter. So you pay Peter, don't you? Right? The Peter's pence. And that is the system of tax. And then they put words in Jesus' mouth where he says, "Oh, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's, and pay your taxes like a good Christian slave. You be obedient because God put them there." I don't think so. God gave us law and love and peace, and that's the law that was given to us, not theirs. See, this is the law of the high seas, the Holy See, because you're lost out at sea. You're incompetent. That's the presumption they make. You're a ward of the state. You were born in a military facility, a hospital run by the Knights Hospitalier. Yeah, you find all the knights are in there behind one of these businesses. It's a mafia. They control the crime. They don't. That's why they're bringing you, summoning you to go to church, because, hey, you're not going to get any of our crime business, and we're going to charge you for it. You're going to be paying for trying to dip into our slice of the pie. You're trying to get a slice of the pie. As Franco Collins shows and proves, they run the crime. And they want it all. Not most of, like a fair mafia boss would do. You know, you've got Don Corleone on that part of town, and then you've got Joe whatever on the other side of town, and they respect their borders, right? These people don't respect you. They'll medicate you with fluoride in your water. They will inject you with thimerosal, with mercury-based thimerosal preservative in your vaccines. That's murdering you. And we bring our children there to be vaccinated and punched with that. And 30 vaccines before the age of 5 now in America. Man, I've never been vaccinated. My mother came out here from Italy, from Calabria in 1956. Didn't know a word of English. Went and studied her brains out. She's quite intellectual and she speaks English very well. Within 2 years, she saw a show on TV. And on that show, they showed how many children have been damaged with vaccinations. This is 1958. You can imagine how much English my mother knew. But then I was born in 63, and she didn't vaccinate any of her children. I've never had a problem physically in my life. I've had one headache. Now, I see people around me, friends of mine that have got arthritis, diabetes, asthma. My God, the list goes on and on and on, because we're eating aspartame, we're eating all that shit that they put out there deliberately. And we've forgotten nature. We've forgotten who we are, so we don't grab an apple off the tree, which has vitamins and light. See, raw food is light food, and we are light bodies. So our light bodies are being dulled and dulled and dulled and dulled the more of this processed shit that we eat. You see people at the supermarkets, they've got boxes of this, cans of that, boxes of everything else, and like, who put them in the box? And how many processes go on before it gets in the box? There's cooking and double cooking. That's what biscuit means. In my language, biscotto means twice cooked. Bis means twice. Cotto means cooked. So you cook them twice, and just get that light out of there. Just strip that food of light. And then put some flavours in there. And some preservative to boot. And eat that, you dumb. And people eat it. You know, they've got this, see, rock up there at the supermarket and they've got boxes of all sorts of cornflakes and all that. My God. Look. Yes, diet this, diet that, white this, white that. Everything's bleached. I mean, have you guys ever seen that getting around on the internet? McDonald's? The poo that they give people to, but they flavour it, so it tastes great. But it's poo nonetheless, right? Look at the process, McDonald's. And for all people watching the video, this is a plug for McDonald's. It's pre-chicken nugget meat paste, aka mechanically separated poultry or mechanically separated chicken. The photo has been extensively passed around recently, and for good reason. It's a peek into the rarely seen world of mechanically separated meat or advanced meat recovery, or they call it AMR. You're eating AMR food. Good on you. Foodjucate writes, some American figured out in the 1960s that meat processors can eke out a few more % of profit from chickens, turkeys, pigs and cows by scraping the bones 100% clean of meat. This is done by machines, not humans, by passing bones left over after the initial cutting through a high-pressure sieve. The paste you see in the picture above is the result.
Is that what chicken is that mean?
That's what they stripped off the bones with chemicals, because there's profit in doing so. They're not going to give you real milk and real dairy ice cream and, you know.
It's a chemical strip, not a physical.
Well, hang on a minute. I haven't finished. Just watch what it is. Just listen to this. There's more. Because it's crawling with bacteria, it will be washed with ammonia. Good old ammonia. Soaked in it, actually. Then, because it tastes gross, it will be reflavoured artificially. That's your soft-serve McDonald's. Then, because it is weirdly pink, it will be dyed with artificial colour. That's AMR food, people. The resulting paste goes on to become the main ingredient in many of Australia's favourite mass-produced and processed meat-like foods and snacks: bologna, hot dog, salami, pepperoni, meat jerky, and of course the ever-polarising chicken nugget, where the paste from the photo above was likely destined. And we bring our kids there and we, oh, you're going to get a soft serve, son, because you've been good. You're really good today at shops. You're going to get a soft serve. Blah, blah, blah. Ammonia, artificial flavour. There's no light. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. What's wrong with fruit, you know?
But the light also feeds the intelligence to discern. So it's all, you know, and also all the flavours and the numbers, the number food, they create addictions.
Yes. Yeah, spot on.
It's all, you know, self-feeding.
It really is. So anyway, look, the bottom line is that, thanks for that, it's get some light into you, people, and you watch what happens. And turn the TV off, and you know all that. Because otherwise we're not going to make what's coming. There's a big, big, big awakening coming, and we're going to benefit from it to varying degrees. We're going back home. There's no mistake about it. There's no mistake about it, and it's happening right before our eyes. Now, I know that because I have direct knowledge, not opinion and not belief. This, what I'm showing on astrotheology and the science and the key of understanding nature, will give you that direct knowledge. You won't be going around like most of the people, full of opinions. Well, I think that the Labor Party, well, I think that we do this to the economy, we'll fix, you know, there's opinions, they're vomited out, and they're repeaters of false information that's been fed to them by the Illuminati in the first place. And they just go repeating, not originally, they don't have any information of their own origin. So this gives us direct knowledge. And one fact that I know that is direct knowledge comes from my observations of astronomy. I look up and I can see that in the last 6 months the stars have shifted. They're all shifted. Check out on YouTube a video called "The Shift is About to Hit the Fan" and see what the Eskimos... Yeah. You see these Eskimos, you know, they've got no teeth and everything, old fellas, you know, little wise men sitting there in the interview, one after another being interviewed. And they're sitting there and they're explaining, they're going, the sun used to set over there, it sets over there now. And instead of 1 hour, window of hour where we can do our hunting, we now have 2 windows. And the angle of the sun is much brighter and all our snow's melting. I know that. I know that. I don't have to believe there's people, because I've been paying attention to the position of the stars for a long time. Tonight at 9 o'clock you'll see Virgo, right? In the west. I'm disoriented. Over there. East is that away. Over there, right? You see the Virgin and then you see Scorpio over here. Scorpio sets at about midnight. It's beautiful. And in fact, in the book of Revelation it talks about this. It says, and the red dragon pursues the woman, and the woman flees into the wilderness. You see, when Virgo goes below the horizon, anything below the horizon, when you lose sight of those stars in the west, they've gone to the valley of death. They've gone into the wilderness. And Scorpio is always... There's the Virgin, and she's about there now at 9 o'clock. And the red dragon, there's a red star in Scorpio, there's only 4 in the sky. And this one, Antares, that's a mother of a star, that one. It's so big and glorious. And that is the red dragon. And it pursues the woman. Its claws reach out to the 2 stars of Libra. And Libra sits on the equinox. And so that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I'll show you that later. When the Virgin goes down into the wilderness, the red dragon pursues her. And the red dragon, it says in Revelation, vomits forth a river to drown the woman. Well, the river is coming up in Taurus, Eridanus. It's a extra zodiacal sign of Taurus. It's called Eridanus, or the Jordanus.